8:15 a.m. last spring when I walked into Cesar Chavez Elementary School, ready to begin my first day of practicum. I checked in at the office and headed up to my cooperating teacher's classroom. At the time, she was teaching third grade students in a dual language classroom. When I walked in, I first noticed the setup of the room. The desks were in a U formation surrounding a large blue rug, which was in front of the smartboard. I was then immediately caught off guard as my CT, Miss Sepich, started speaking very quickly to me in Spanish. I tried to process what she was saying, but my mind was racing. I couldn't help but think how unprepared I was to be in a classroom with fluent Spanish speakers, even after completing 8.5 years of Spanish classes and acquiring a Spanish minor. I thought that it would be relatively easy to communicate in Spanish after all of my experience. I eventually realized that Miss Sepich was welcoming me into the classroom and telling me where I could put my backpack. At the time, all I could think of to say was gracias. The morning progressed and became even more interesting. The students were working on multiplication packets, and one of the girls asked me to look over her work. I walked over and checked each of the problems that she had completed. One was incorrect, so I tried to assist her in fixing it. It was still Spanish time, but I realized that I had had no prior experience of talking about math in Spanish. Thankfully, the student helped me with the math vocabulary and we were able to correct the problem. As I continued to spend time in Miss Sepich's classroom, I became more comfortable with the Spanish language. My speaking, listening, and reading skills really improved. However, after my first morning in the dual language classroom, I became much more aware of how minimal my Spanish experiences had been. It made me realize that even though I had learned the language, I really didn't know how to use it. Throughout my 8 years taking Spanish classes, I was always able to study and prepare for any activity in the classroom. However, when put in a room with fluent Spanish speakers, I quickly realized that it was difficult to apply my knowledge without preparation. I did the best I could and found out that I really became a better Spanish speaker because of being forced to communicate with the students. I also became much more aware of how people who do not speak English fluently feel when coming to the United States. I have a much greater appreciation of them.